the end of the day, it's a strategy. What are the promises you want to make using the design thinking process? Gonna be the slogans, what are gonna be the wordings, what are gonna be the narratives, as I mentioned before. You might also want to understand a leader at this point in time. Like what for you, I have just created this quick jam board in which I have different sections of empathize, define, ideate, prototype, test, and iterate. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you would have seen the very old movie Taxi Driver, which was released in 1976, you would have seen that the person who was the protagonist of that movie was actually looking after a girl who was working in one of the political campaigns of designing the entire political thing, like campaigns and all those things for the person who was running for the election of mayor in that city. Now, while I was watching that movie, I kind of felt that like how exactly the political campaigns are designed, because at the end of the day, it's a strategy. It's entirely a thing. Like what all are the things that you want to say in the elections, what are the promises you want to make, what all propaganda you want to have. Obviously all of these things are strategized, so it must be designed in a way. So I just thought, what if using the design thinking process, or using, let's say, double diamond process, what if we could design a political campaign? So that is what I have come up with today. I'm going to design a political campaign using the design thinking process. Like in each step, what all can we do to make a successful political campaign that can actually help someone win an election. So stay tuned for just seeing process of this entire thing. I hope you will enjoy this. Okay, so for you, I have just created this quick jam board in which I have different sections of empathize, define, ideate, prototype, test, and iterate. So first part is empathize. So in this part, we first need to understand, like the volunteers of a campaign will go in between the audience and will start to understand what are the major pain points that they are facing in their day-to-day life. This technique in general is called guerrilla technique, in which the people actually go between the users. They just see them, how they are working, how exactly are they behaving. Over here, there's just an addition to that where you're also going to interview those people. You're also going to understand them. So this is the first technique that they are going to use. And the second thing will be to understand where the present government is failing. When you will actually start to go to the streets, you will get to know, okay, so these are the root level issues that people are facing, and people are actually angry about those, or how many people are actually impacted by these things also. And in this phase, you are actually the exploratory phase. You're just going to see everything. You're going to understand everything. Like you're going to talk to all the people. You're going to see all the things. You're going to just write down all the problems that you found at this stage. And you might also want to understand a leader at this point. Like what is the personality of this person? What are the pros and cons of this person? Because this is going to be really very helpful to you in the coming stage. Some of the problems that they might find in this case, let's say like lack of sanitation in many areas, lack of safety, crime, or crime is an issue. Middle class not being able to cope up with the inflation, road quality and traffic situation, environmental degradation like toxic air and rivers. So these can be some of the issues that maybe at this stage you can come up with. And the second part will be like, what did you understand about a leader? Like, is your leader powerful? Is your leader tactical? What all has been the background of this person, the educational qualification, what all they have done in the previous government? So is there any leadership experience with this person? So you can just jot these down at this stage. Okay, so here's a step 2, which is to define. Now, since you know, like there are some hypotheses that you have built, okay, so these are the problems that people are facing. At this point, maybe you would want to just see some national data also to validate, okay, so are these problems real, like, or how big of these problems are on the actual level, on the data level. So that this is going to help you out. And you might also want to understand the priority of the problems also. Okay, so understanding your party's alignment, or your candidates alignment, like if they are on the left wing or the right wing, what all are the ideas which are aligning with those ideas. On this part, I would want to mention that there are some ideal things, there are some non-ideal things. So in reality, maybe obviously the political parties would not do this exactly. They would just want to understand these things so that they can align it with their political ideology. The sad part is that most of the governments are not running government in a way that they want to solve all the problems. They just want to solve the problems, or just pick out the problems that is gonna help their social group or their religious group in a way. So it's kind of like a UX dark pattern, meaning if you can just tell it that way. So it is that. If you would want to prioritize those things, like here is one of the charts that I've created. Like on the y-axis you have more people affected or less people affected. On the x-axis you have high impact or low impact. So considering like how people consider these issues as. So maybe inflation can be a thing with which most of the people are affected, and it also has a high impact on the day-to-day life of the people also. If you see the lack of sanitation in some areas, it is high impact, but let's say it's a very less people affected people, because maybe it's just happening in one part of the city. Then there's a low impact. Most people affected is pollution. Sadly, it has a high impact, but people don't realize it, that how big of a issue pollution is, and even the governments are not really putting in that much effort. So that's why I've kept it in the low impact. But yes, most of the people are affected with it, and less people affected. Low impact is the stray animals. Maybe stray animals are an issue for some people, but not for everyone. Maybe everybody, most of the people are just okay with it. So, and also it doesn't have that much big of an impact. So that is how you can maybe prioritize the process. Okay, so these are the things I would want to make a campaign on, and these are the things that I would not want to make a campaign on. Okay, so the next part, third part, is to ideate. Now, since you know, like, these are the problems that you want to cater, you would want to maybe let's say look out for the campaign ideas now. Like, okay, so how can we cater to these things? What all are the mediums that we want to include? Is this the newspaper, social media, rallies, or road shows? What all are the things that we want to work on? And what all are the slogans, or the, let's say, the narrative that you want to build in this election? Because after understanding all of these things, you would know, like, what is the pulse of the people who are living there, and what is something that you want to push as your ideology. So you have a pretty good idea of this thing. Now is all about the execution, like how you want to communicate this thing to the people. What are gonna be the slogans? What are gonna be the wordings? What are gonna be the narratives, as I mentioned before? For example, maybe मेरा देश फिर से सोने की चिड़िया बनेगा. My country will again be a bird of gold. What exactly does it tell you? It gives you hope. For example, like, if today I know that there's poverty, if today I know that there is people struggling with the money or economic issues, if I will come into the power, I have that leadership qualities or the financial or economic understanding, that maybe this country will again become the bird of gold as it was before. So this is one of the narratives that many people run, and the only thing that you want to work over is the hope, giving the hope to the people. In addition to finding the solution, you might also want to include the emotional angles also. Most of the political parties do that, most of the political campaigns do that. They include the emotions along with the rationals, and sometimes they exclude the rationals, just include the emotions. That thing is also the thing which happens most of the times. Again, UH talks pattern. UH talk pattern. Nothing else. You should now, like, one good thing that many people should do at this stage is to be as vague as possible. Think of all the ideas, just jot those down. Do not think if it is feasible or not, what will be the repercussions of that. Just do not do this at this stage of the time. Cool. The fourth stage, it is when you have ideas. Now you have to prototype. Like, you have to build the MVP, or the very most minimum viable product that you have to build. So that is something that you have to work on. You start building things. And how do you see your country and state if you get into power? What are the solutions that you will give? What are the promises you are going to make? How will you fulfill those? These are something that you're going to work on at this stage, and you're going to strategize the campaigns now. How will you divide it with the different sects of the voters, and how are you going to include the emotional points, emotional triggering points? And you have to just make a final campaign, like the minimum viable campaign that you can run. Maybe it can be a rally, it can be a social media campaign, it can be a road show, it can be sometimes a news channel interview also. It can be that also, because with that you're going to propagate what is your ideology, what is your narrative for this election. That is something that you're going to set at this point of time. So this is your prototype. Now once you are prepared with your prototype, you are now going to test it. Now what is your final test? Let's say a rally is your test where you want to test it. For the rallies, you will now set out the KPIs. The KPIs will be the key performance indicators. Okay, so I wanted to include this narrative, I wanted to include this slogan, I wanted to include these points through the rally, and how was the audience reacting to it. First of all, like, the first KPI will be how many people turned up for the rally. Maybe that is one of our KPIs. Did people really applaud on the points where you wanted people to applaud? How are people reacting to it? Another KPI can be how are the other people reacting to it when this rally actually came up on the news channel, or let's say in YouTube or something else. How are people commenting on that? What are the reactions of people? Maybe that can be one of the KPIs for you. Done. So since you tested it, you got the results of it. Maybe some of those were positive, some of those were negative. Now we'll go back to your drawing board. You will see like what worked, what did not work. Maybe this line worked out, maybe this narrative worked out, but maybe some narratives have a backlash. Let's say maybe one of the narratives that you were trying to show about your opponent, maybe they have a good comeback of that. Maybe they are able to counter that in a good way, in a way that now the public is again back with them, not with you. So you will have to iterate on that. You will have to see like, okay, what all are the loopholes that I can look into this statement, and how can I, let's say, make this entire thing workable. So this is what you need to iterate on. That is majorly all. My only idea to make this video was that how can I make people understand about the design thinking process or design in general, and how it is used in almost every day-to-day thing. And the series of this will continue. I will include more things. There's a few more things that I've been thinking of including, like how can you design a public policy, how can you design let's say a good office culture using design thinking. So design thinking can be used almost everywhere, and this is what my aim is. So I'll maybe just continue the series of how can you use design thinking or design process into solving any of the problem in the world, almost any problem in the world. Like basically how it will help you out in strategy and thing. So if you want to have more of these kind of videos, just let me know in the comments. I'll love to make more videos on this topic or on the series. That is all. If you want to connect with me, you can just have a one-on-one call with me on TopMate. You can find the link of that. I'll put it in the description. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, here's the link of that. I'll put it in the description. And I just write the articles on Medium also. So I'll put the link of this particular Medium article. Like I've already made a Medium article of this, so I'll put it in the description. That is on. Just please let me know about your views on this video, and is it really a good series that we should work on? Is it controversial? What is it? So I just wanted to make something out of it, so I just made it. That's all. Thank you. If you really like this video, or if you like the videos that I'm working on, please consider subscribing to this channel. There are many such kind of videos that I'm making, and there are different topics that I cater to. There are different series that I cater to. So if you really resonate with my thoughts, or if you want to just connect with me, just please subscribe and like this video. Thank you. Bye bye.